It's 1943, and in the chaos of a desert battlefield, American Sherman tanks move with impossible precision, striking as one without a single flag or flare. The Germans are stunned, unaware of the secret weapon that's rewriting warfare, the world's most advanced radios. Stay tuned for a story of invisible power that changed World War II. Watch till the end. On a dusty morning north of Kasserine Pass, Tunisia, February 20, 1943, the German Afrika Korps faced an American force that defied the rules of war. 5 Sherman tanks, scattered across rugged hills with no line of sight, moved in perfect sync, hitting German positions with a timing that seemed almost supernatural. German commanders and their Panzer IVs, peering through the smoke, were baffled. Their doctrine relied on visual signals, flags, flares, or riders racing between tanks to coordinate such maneuvers. But the Americans used none of these. Their tanks operated like a single organism, each crew covering blind spots, knowing their comrades' positions without seeing them. The Germans didn't know it, but they were witnessing a revolution powered by a technology they couldn't imagine, the SCR-508 radio, turning every Sherman into a node in history's first battlefield network. Rewind to 1941, as America prepared for war. While German panzers tore through the Soviet Union with limited radio communication between command tanks, American engineers at the Galvin Manufacturing Company, later Motorola, were crafting a game-changer. Led by Daniel E. Noble and Henryk Magnoski, they built the SCR-508 radio, a 181-pound marvel designed to withstand a tank's brutal conditions while delivering crystal-clear signals. Standardized by the U.S. Army on July 22, 1941, with its variants, the SCR-528 and SCR-538, this frequency modulation, FM, radio was revolutionary. German FUG-5 radios, using 10-watt amplitude modulation, AM, crackled with static, barely reaching a few hundred meters. The SCR-508, with 25 watts of power, sliced through engine noise and battlefield chaos, giving American crews an edge the Germans couldn't match. German FUG-5 radios, advanced for the 1930s, were fatally limited. In a typical German tank platoon, only 1 or 2 of 5 tanks had full transceivers for sending and receiving. The rest had FUG-2 receivers, able to hear orders but unable to respond or report threats. This rigid setup relied on a single commander, whose tank, marked by multiple antennas, was a prime target. If knocked out, the platoon was silenced, stumbling in chaos. Every American Sherman, however, carried an SCR-508 with a BC-604 transmitter and dual BC-603 receivers, allowing commanders to monitor multiple frequencies. With 10 preset channels and crystal-controlled stability, the SCR-508 stayed locked on, while German radios drifted, drowned by interference from spark plugs and tracks. This advantage roared to life during Operation Torch on November 8, 1942, when American armor landed in North Africa. The 2nd Armored Division's Shermans hit the shores near Safi and Fadala, their SCR-508 radios humming with clarity. The Afrika Korps, despite their experience, was crippled by communication limits. Their FUG-5 radios, operating in the 27.0 to 33.3 MHz range, reached only 2 to 3 kilometers in ideal conditions, dropping to hundreds of meters when moving. Electrical sparks turned their signals to static. American FM radios, operating between 20.0 to 27.9 MHz, delivered voice clarity that stunned German intelligence. Intercepted transmissions revealed every Sherman could transmit, report positions, and call for support, creating a dynamic network that left the Germans scrambling. The Battle of Kasserine Pass, February 14 to 24, 1943, was a tactical defeat for the Americans but a showcase of their radio superiority. The U.S. 1st Armored Division's scattered units coordinated across 50 miles of battlefield, a feat that left German observers reeling. Crews who had never met synchronized attacks, warned of threats, and called in artillery with pinpoint accuracy via the SCR-508's FM signals. German intelligence from the 10th Panzer Division noted this coordination but misjudged its source, crediting training over technology. The SCR-508's FM technology, pioneered by Edwin Armstrong, eliminated the static that plagued German AM systems, giving American crews a near telepathic edge. In September 1943, American forces hit Italy's mountainous terrain, where radios should have faltered. Instead, the SCR-508's FM technology thrived. Unlike AM signals, scrambled by mountain valleys interference, FM signals stayed clear. American tanks coordinated through terrain where visual signals were impossible, striking with precision German doctrine deemed unachievable without line of sight. The 1st Armored Division's reports described coordination at distances where German radios produced only static. During the advance toward Cassino, tank platoons separated by ridgelines hit with devastating unity, while German AM radios failed, leaving Panzer crews isolated. On June 6, 1944, as Shermans rolled off Normandy's landing craft, their SCR-508 radios linked with naval fire support, enabling coordination impossible for German technology. But the Bocage's hedgerows exposed a gap. Tank radios couldn't connect with infantry radios on different frequencies, 40.0 to 48.0 MHz for the SCR-300, versus 20.0 to 27.9 MHz for tanks. This left Shermans vulnerable to German Panzerfaust ambushes, with nearby infantry unable to warn them. American ingenuity fixed this in weeks, mounting E-8 field telephones in boxes welded to tank exteriors, wired to internal systems. By Operation Cobra in late July 1944, this innovation revolutionized tank infantry cooperation, enabling seamless coordination. Operation Cobra, July 25 to 30, 1944, unleashed the full power of American radio superiority. Major General Edward H. Brooks' 2nd Armored Division commanded over 200 Shermans, linked by a radio network that gave unmatched control. German Panzer Lehr Division defenders faced an enemy with near-supernatural awareness. American tanks responded instantly to threats reported miles away, with artillery strikes arriving within minutes via radio coordination. Panzer Lehr, once Germany's elite, was reduced to communication poverty. Most tanks lacked radios, relying on visual signals in terrain with 100-meter visibility. Their few radios, plagued by interference, couldn't coordinate. Germany, ironically, had pioneered tank radios under Heinz Guderian, whose 1937 book Achtung Panzer stressed communications' role in Blitzkrieg. Yet by 1943, German production couldn't supply the radios his doctrine required. German production data reveals the crisis. In 1943, they built 5,700 medium tanks but only 2,000 FUG transceivers, many for command vehicles or assault guns, leaving tank units short. Soviet T-34s, the most produced Allied tank, often fought without radios, relying on flags and plans that failed against Germans in 1941. Lend-Lease SCR-508 radios helped some Soviet command tanks, but by 1945, only 25% had radios. America, meanwhile, equipped all 49,324 Shermans with SCR-508s. Motorola's Chicago factory, once making car radios, retooled to produce over 50,000 radio sets, 3,800 in 1942, 11,400 in 1943, 24,000 in 1944. Each SCR-508 had 2,748 components, including 474 capacitors and 385 resistors, with crystal oscillators stable despite combat conditions, an industrial triumph unmatched by any nation. The SCR-508's edge went beyond FM. Its crystal-controlled stability kept channels preset, unlike German FUG-5s, which drifted with variable tuning. Dual receivers let commanders monitor platoon and company nets, ensuring instant orders and awareness. The BC-606 intercom, with throat microphones and noise-canceling headphones, let crews communicate clearly, while German tanks often lacked intercoms, forcing crews to shout. The SCR-508's power management, operating on 12 or 24 volts with a dynamo supply, eliminated interference, unlike German radios, which picked up every spark as static. This universal radio deployment reshaped American doctrine. Flexible combat command structures relied on reliable communication, allowing ad hoc battle groups to coordinate seamlessly. This baffled German commanders, tied to rigid structures by limited radios. At Aricourt in September 1944, the 4th Armored Division faced German Panther tanks, superior in armor and firepower. Yet radio coordination won the day. Every Sherman reported positions instantly, feeding data to tank destroyers and artillery. Over 3 weeks, they destroyed 281 German vehicles, losing only 41 Shermans, a 7-to-1 kill ratio defying technical specs. German intelligence missed this advantage, crediting American coordination to training. A September 1944 report noted good radio discipline but ignored the SCR-508's impact. German tactics never adapted, targeting command tanks, unaware every Sherman could coordinate. They planned ambushes expecting American tanks to lose cohesion when separated, not realizing radio networks maintained unity. By March 1945, as Americans neared the Rhine, their communication peaked. The Remagen Bridge capture showed this speed. The 9th Armored Division's radio reports reached 1st Army headquarters in minutes, shifting divisions within an hour. Germans, reliant on telephone lines destroyed by American airstrikes, couldn't respond. Radio networks built an impregnable bridgehead, with tank platoons coordinating seamlessly. German counterattacks, crippled by communication failures, were destroyed piecemeal. In April 1945, the Ruhr Pocket encirclement showcased American radio dominance. 1st and 9th Army columns executed a double envelopment via radio, trapping 325,000 German troops as their communications collapsed. American fighter bombers, guided by radio-equipped controllers, destroyed German communication nodes. Field Marshal Walter Model's final messages revealed the despair: no contact with adjacent units. No communication with higher headquarters. Coordination impossible. American crews, connected by radio waves, fought with confidence, never alone. German crews faced isolation, fighting individual battles within larger engagements. This radio superiority shaped strategy. The Third Army's 1944 race across France relied on radio networks spanning hundreds of miles. German commanders, blind to this edge, underestimated American capabilities. Heinz Guderian, in a 1944 memo, admitted American coordination negated German tank quality, but he couldn't fix it. Post-war, American intelligence confirmed German tanks had superior armor but were 5 years behind in communications. Soviet evaluators copied American radio designs for post-war tanks. Production stats highlight America's feat: 50,000 plus SCR-508 radios for 49,324 Shermans, 100% deployment, 25 watts, plus or minus 0.01% stability, 7 to 15 mile range. German FUG-5s, 6,000 for 12,000 tanks, 20% deployment, 10 watts, plus or minus 1% stability, 0.5 to 3 mile range. American fire missions took 3 to 5 minutes, German ones, 15 to 30. This legacy shapes modern warfare. Tanks like the German Leopard carry radio suites descended from the SCR-508, emphasizing universal deployment. The Bundeswehr's manual states, superior German tanks lost to inferior American vehicles with superior radios, proving information dominance trumps platform superiority. The 1991 Gulf War and 2003 Iraq invasion showed this, with coalition forces' superior communications crushing better-equipped enemies. The SCR-508 turned Shermans into a networked weapons system, creating a collective intelligence no German tank could match. From Kasserine to Germany's final battles, American coordination baffled the Wehrmacht, who never countered it, blinded by one of World War II's great intelligence failures. Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel's reputed words at surrender: "We built better tanks, but you made them work together," captured the truth. America built 49,324 nodes in the First Armored Network, proving connection equals survival, isolation equals defeat. You've just heard how the Sherman tank's radios changed warfare forever, turning the tide with invisible waves. This hidden chapter of World War II shows the power of connection over isolation. For more gripping stories of innovation and triumph, subscribe, hit the bell, and join our journey through history's greatest battles. Thanks for watching.